Hi everybody, welcome to this general playthrough guide for the Quick 9 course in the description of the video and for the date shown on screen right now. Timestamps in the description down below for all 9 holes. Please hit thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to the channel. Remember, this is a general wind condition guide you will need to tweak according to the wind angles you receive in-game, as well as your club's balls and skill level. Good luck, here we go. Very tricky par 3 here, and in tailwind I'm actually going to play with the Cataclysm. I'm going with 3 bars of backspin in this wind angle here and a little bit of side spin to the right. Obviously that's going to vary though depending on your wind angle. I was setting up at P6 max rest with the ball guide through the hole before adding my spin. Obviously if you don't have as much tailwind then you will need less backspin. We adjust here maximum distance, 20% elevation, power 6 numbers. In headwind scenarios here, obviously you're going to play from minimum distance with your driver and with a fair amount of backspin instead. Tough hole to drop though, safely onto the green, just coming in a bit hot, we hit the pin and glance off to the left hand side on this very difficult par 3. On this par 4, if you don't have a predominantly tailwind, you will need to lay up. NMT with the quarterback and a power 6 ball, and then we swap to our APR bag with the thorn. I'm adding 5.8 topspin and 3 bars side spin to the left, and then I'm going to make my adjustment, which in this case is maximum distance with 10% elevation. Like I said, I would only go for the blast shot here if you have predominant tailwind because of the distance off the tee. Anything more crosswind and any headwind you've got to lay up. Making our adjustment, I'm going with circle break over power just to get a few more yards off the tee here. And we're hitting perfect, bouncing nicely away from the rough and rolling along. And it's going to give us a clear shot to the green with our thorn. Obviously, you could push it a little bit further if you wanted, but here is absolutely fine. We're just within distance of our thorn. Here we are close to max distance. I'm going to use my landing position plus yards and play true club distance. A little bit of backspin here. Because there is a slight tailwind element now. We've turned the corner on this hole, slight dogleg design, aiming a little bit right of the pin, and you can see the ball guide slightly short. Plus 3 landing position, that is 3 yards away from max. It is 2% per yard, so here I play 94% slider, and we're going to play 30% elevation here because this plays considerably downhill. If you have more headwind off the tee, you're not going to get that drive distance, so you would need to play from the minimum distance line with your Grizzly. I would still suggest you play with a fair amount of elevation there, because again, it is going to play downhill. But something to consider there. But here we're making our adjustment, bouncing on the green, and we're actually dropping for the eagle. Tailwind on this par 4 means we can have a go for a blast. Stretching out and having the bullseye on the centre of the island, P10 max stretch. This is a berserker shot. I'm going with 2 backspin and 2 right spin. I would suggest you take a couple of practice tokens though to dial in this blast shot depending on your wind strength and wind angle, because with Master the wind does have a lot of effect on the ball with these stronger wind conditions. Adjustment here is max minus 60. Seems odd, but it does work. I'm not pushing up, I'm just going to go full blast with a slower needle and outer wall curl to the right. As I said though, this shot is technical and it's aggressive. It will require tweaks according to your wind strength and angle, but here we're working out absolutely fine and we're left with a very short putt for our eagle. Here at BK Golf Clash, I like to support people in the community that are also creating free content. And Golf Clash Anton has been doing some tournament wind text guides. He doesn't do them for every single event, but when he does, he's very kindly allowed us here on the channel to distribute his text guides, as an example on the screen right now, to our free members on Patreon. So if you are not a free member, and obviously it is free to become a member on Patreon, you don't have to pay, and you want to receive these text guides when they are made by Anton, then head over to our Patreon. Link is on screen. You can join right now. And whenever there are text guides by these wonderful community creators, we will be sending those out to you. Safe option on this par 5 with the Rock NMT power 6 ball. This is of course if you haven't got the wind angle or indeed the desire to play aggressively, bouncing on the island and going full blast to green. Safe eagle play here. So NMT with the Rock, switch to your APOC and Cataclysm bag. 5.8 topspin, 1 bar side spin to the right. The There isn't a lot of headwind. In fact, this is more crosswind angle here. In headwind, I would play with the extra mile 9 for more topspin, and preferably more than a power 6 ball to ensure you have a clear shot to green. It's going to be a tough hole from third tee in headwind. A little bit of headwind angle here though, you could see those plus yards increasing. Max plus 10, full overpower, it's going to be a shaky needle this one. Try and hit perfect. Thankfully there is a lot of fairway to allow us plenty of room here for great balls either side, especially with APOC. Rolling out almost to the end of the shadow, drive distance anything around 390 is fine. Second shot with the Cataclysm, you're not going to reach unless you have a really long drive with the sniper, so that's why I'm suggesting Cataclysm or Big Dog. 3 bars of right spin only. If you have less tailwind on this approach shot, then obviously I would suggest you play with a little bit of top spin to help get you on the green. Maximum distance with 10% elevation here. It's up to you what you want to do with the curl. I play with half a ball of right curl just to take myself away from the tree and also closer to the pin. Unfortunately, I catch a great left, but we're still going to be on the green very safely, and a minor greats either side. In fact, even a double great either side, you're going to have a pretty medium to short range putt, which is not going to be a problem. With a nice tailwind angle, we can blast it on this par 5. P10 max stretch, half of the blue ring inside the rough on the left with APOC 6. Going with full top spin and 2 left spin. Obviously, you could play this with 6 bars of top spin. You can have a slightly longer approach. Extra mile 9 is a brilliant alternative here as well. You will just have to push up an extra 3 yards after you adjust. Now, you've got to adjust off the face of the cliff. It is extremely difficult, so find a method that works for you. Obviously, you can see the target is really stretched out when you pull down the face of the cliff, so try and be as accurate as you can. Maximum distance minus 5% elevation, and then I'm pushing up 7 yards in this wind strength and wind angle. However, that is going to vary. If you have straighter tailwind, you will need a different push-up. If you have less tailwind, you will need a different push-up as well. You must try and take a token or two and dial something in to get those wind strength and wind angle tweaks. Otherwise, you might miss the island completely. You might catch the rough. But with a bit of luck, you're going to end up here near the green and have a simple wedge or a putt. Now, if you want to support us on Patreon, you can do so. Details on the screen now. As part of your perks on certain days for the Quick Nines, there will be some Patreon exclusive Master General playthroughs for those holes used. So make sure you check us out there. This crosswind angle is trickier than it looks on this par 4 because we have to adjust off the face of the cliff. So we're going with the Apocalypse 5.8 top spin, 3 left spin. If you've got more top spin though, feel free to use it. Top of plus 10, blue ring touching the rough on the left. That's with APOC 5 and 6. APOC 4, you can play this shot. You'll have 30% of the blue ring overlapping the rough on the left at P6 max rest. Adjust max plus 0. Pull a decent amount of rings first before that target starts to drop to the cliff. And then I pull the remaining amount of rings. It's not many left, like 0.7 or something, from the white ring, so that I can see it clearly rather than zooming in on the bullseye when it's all distorted going down the cliff. But do what you can. Obviously, it's never ideal, but it's what we have to do in this wind angle. That was max plus 0. We're going with circle break overpower and hitting perfect. We want to try and get this ball down there, and we will be in thorn range from here. Obviously, more headwind. You will be playing with the Grizzly. But for reference, here's a thorn shot. Find the sticky spot and then add your spin according to your wind angle here. Now with crosswind, left to right, I'm going to offset this one quite a little bit out to the left-hand side. Need a bit of top spin because my drive wasn't as long as it could be. A bit of tailwind though off the tee, and you will obviously be able to play with a bit of backspin instead. Offsetting 2 green squares to the left of the pin. We'll see how this one comes in. I'm going to play true club distance here in pretty much all wind angles, and we're at plus 3, so I'm playing it 94% on the slider. More information about true club distance and using the slider on our Academy tutorial playlist on the channel homepage. Centre the ball and hit perfect. Coming in nicely here, but a small tweak is needed in this wind angle. Just needed to tweak the adjustment or offset a little bit more to the left. Hole in one to show you here, you need the Grizzly and the Goliath. We're starting with the Grizzly, 5 backspin. It's a hard 5 backspin, and 3 right spin. And I'm setting up at the top of +3 and looking at the tip of the ball guide being just touching that left-hand side of the dark green square column. 3 green square columns to the right of the pin. Then I switch to Goliath. The reason I do that is so that I can do a single pull adjustment rather than doing 5 rings and then another 7 rings. So you can adjust all in one with the Goliath because the rings are bigger. Max +20, power 6 numbers here, and then because we're only using a side spin, rather 3 bars of side spin with the Kingmaker, I'm playing without a wall curl to the right. If you've got a ball with more side spin, you could tweak this shot and not have to use curl, but the curl here is coming in beautifully, and we drop it right at the pin for a lovely hole-in-one. Now, although you can support us financially on Patreon, you can also join as a free member. If you do that, you will get bonus master level text guide content from the Coalition. They produce text guides for free every tournament, free to play balls, and we send those out when they do so. And they very kindly agreed to let me share their archives of all the courses used in this season of Quick Nines for you all to use, because there may be some wind angles that you get as part of the Quick Nines that they have in their archive. So you will receive those if you join us as a free member on our Patreon. On the drive here, we're going to play with APOC and then our Grizzly for the second shot. APOC 5 and 6, blue ring touching the rough on the left, P6 max rest. We are adding 4 top spin and 3 bars of side spin to the left in this wind angle. Making our adjustment here, maximum distance with 10% elevation. Now APOC 4, you can play this shot, you would have to stretch out though 1.7 rings into overpower to find your position with 30% of the blue ring inside the rough, and then after you adjust, you then push up those 1.7 rings again. 1 ball of curl to the left, and we're going with just before circle drop overpower, and we are wanting to hit perfect, of course, as always. Perfect ball we get, and we're bouncing towards the corner of the fairway, clearing the water in the rough nicely and rolling up the hill here to this little mound. Drive distance is going to be in the region of 380 yards. Second shot, a distance check to give you a reference here. Fringe check in line with the pin, where the fringe meets the fairway gives me +5. So you can kind of use that as a reference to build on here. Half a bar of backspin, 3 bars of right spin, and I've got to offset quite a lot here because that wind angle is going to push us way to the left. Tip of the ball guide aiming 3 green square columns to the right of the pin. Jumps around a bit there, try and find a decent position with the second bounce just clearing the rough. Don't worry about that though, because there is a tailwind element which is going to give us a little bit of an extended ball guide that you won't see on the game. Adjustment here for this distance check, I'm playing mid-distance with 5% elevation. It is going to be 2 pulls needed here with the Grizzly, but I'm liking the Grizzly for the ball guide and the accuracy. Time to take our shot now. This one does need a little bit of a tweak, but a very good general idea of how to play this hole, and in this particular wind angle it is absolutely tweakable, and you might well get yourself an albatross. Now on this par 4, with this wind angle, we can actually play fairly aggressively to get to wedge range. 3 top spin and 3 left spin. APOC 5 and 6, red ring touching the rough on the left at P6 max rest. Obviously without tailwind, you've got to lay up here and then leave yourself a thorn shot, but both are good chances for the eagle. This one here, as it's kind of an aggressive shot, will need some wind angle tweaks. Max +10, be careful, you've got to pull down the edge of the cliff here. We're going max left curl, full overpower, but it is a slow needle, so a good chance of hitting perfect. Bouncing on the fairway, clipping the rough and rolling out, and we're going to have a very easy end bringer wedge from there. This approach here is going to be an NMT shot with the Guardian to control the ball with plenty of backspin. We're going in this wind angle with 7.2 backspin and 1.2 left spin. Now those spins are going to vary depending on what wind angle you get, and you will need to change them. But I like the NMT approach, and I like using the Guardian, especially in tailwind. If you've got headwind, you won't need as much backspin. You could use the Sniper instead. Mid +10, power 6 numbers. Because we adjust to a higher point and we have tailwind in this wind angle, I'm going to use circle break under power. Hitting perfect here, make sure you centre the ball, and this is going to be a very good chance indeed. And in here, this example, we're dropping it right at the pin for a beautiful hole-in-one. If you are enjoying the free content here on the channel and want to help out and keep everything free, then please consider making a small donation. All donations are gratefully received and help me out here on the channel, as all of the content here is produced for free in my own spare time. You can do that in one of three ways. You can hit the thanks button here on YouTube, you can make a PayPal donation via the link in the description down below, or you can also join us over on Patreon. Details at the end of the video. The free-to-play version on this hole is all about getting safely to the green in 2, and hopefully with a kingmaker. In tailwind, definitely with a kingmaker. In headwind, it is going to unfortunately require most likely 3 shots to get to green unless you've got a premium ball. Now, we're setting up here with the bullseye in the middle of the fairway with our Apocalypse at P6 max rest, playing with 5.8 topspin and 3 left spin. I adjust maximum distance with 10% elevation, and just to get some more distance here, I'm going to play just before circle break over power, because I want to get as close to the edge of the fairway as possible without rolling in the rough. And you can see here we get a nice glitchy roll, which you're going to get most of the time, into that shadow around 397 yards. Second shot, we absolutely need the Guardian, and I'm going to play with 8 backspin and 3 left spin. Setting up P6 max rest, middle of the fairway before the green. I'm not looking for the albatross, but if you're lucky, you might actually get the albatross here. We're not far off in this example. You've got to push your rings to adjust max +0 here because the cliff is in the way. So for me, that's 11 rings. I do 4 at a time, twice, that gives me 8, and then another 3 to make the 11. And then it is time to take our shot. Going to play with a lot of left curl here, or at least quite a considerable amount, because obviously the wind angle is going to push us right, and at our initial aim we were aiming right of pin. So 3/4 ball curl would be a good base amount here, no overpower, hitting perfect, and the spin and the wind angle is going to do the rest here, parking up very nicely with a spin grabbing short tap input. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.